Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my Scorpio January 2020 horoscope forecast, part 2 of 2. And yes, this does apply and pertain to the Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. Anyway, first thing up is as far as January goes, Mars will be in Scorpio from the 1st until the 3rd. So the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, one way this may manifest, this could be a time where you have a lot of abundance and surfeit of energy, more so than usual. Scorpio could be injecting a lot of this energy and vitality into Scorpio new beginnings, such as locksmithing, embalming, something astrological, occult, supernatural related, recycling, transformation. Could be a lot of energy put into the transformation of the physical body, especially if this is actually hitting the first house in one's chart. Now, your libido may be increased more than usual at this time as well, Scorpio. And I mean, Scorpio, of course, energy is very erotic to say the least. And you could say also as well, if you're unattached at this time, Scorpio, you may connect with a Scorpio Sun, Moon, or Ascendant person, or simply one that embodies Scorpio characteristics, and it may be somebody that you may have known from your early childhood. It could be a childhood sweetheart, it could be for a sexual liaison, but it could also be somebody that could figure prominently in your new beginnings, your outlook, and even how you're it could be making like first impressions, such as a prospective employer. Now, this could also be a time too where you might come across as a little bit more acrimonious, more acerbic and outspoken, more so than usual. This could be a time too where the situation with people you knew from your early childhood or grandmother even may be a little bit more contentious and acrimonious than usual. There may be arguments connected with jealousy, and guard against vindictive, vengeful anger and actions at this point toward these people. So anyway, next thing up, well, as far as January goes, Mars will be in Sagittarius from the 3rd until the 31st. So the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, well, there might be this situation could be people that you generate income with, or people that figure prominently in your possessions, your resources, may be a little bit more contentious and acrimonious than usual. There may be arguments with these people over philosophy, the law. It could be religious disputes and debates with these people. It could be over expanding horizons, anything that could be Sagittarius related. But at the same time, this could be about putting a lot of energy and vitality into some kind of Sagittarius money-making endeavor. It could be something associated with the law, foreign travel, philosophy, religion, sports, the outdoors, publishing, anything that could be Sagittarius related. And if you're unattached at this time, Scorpio, you may connect with a Sagittarius Sun, Moon, or Ascendant person, or simply one that embodies those traits that might figure prominently in your values, your self-worth, your self-esteem, how you feel about yourself, your monetary situation at this time. You may be a little bit more acerbic and be more exasperated over people doing things like with your possessions at this time. And this could be a lot of blunt, outspoken, tactless Sagittarius energy that may be connected with this at this time. But it could also, on a positive note, it could be about putting a lot of action into expanding your horizons as far as making money goes. And so anyway, well, next thing up is Jupiter will still be in Capricorn, so the 3rd house is what will be emphasized and highlighted at this time. Now, some cases, as I've talked about in previous videos, Jupiter could be rather paradoxical. It could be very strongly benign and benevolent, but it could also have a tendency to enlarge and expand. Now, in some cases, this can enlarge and expand restrictions, limitations, and responsibilities in matters with local transportation, matters with siblings, cousins, neighbors, even it could enlarge despondency and feeling melancholy, and really about 3rd house matters at this time. You could be a time where it could expand restrictions and limitations with your communications, but could also be fortuitous for structure and discipline and consistency in these matters as well. This could be a time too where when you're talking about Jupiter and Capricorn energy, this could be about expanding Capricorn type communications at this time, such as matters connected with responsibilities, government, politics, even information technology, perhaps things that are associated with dentistry. It could be conversations over teeth and dental work, anything that could be Capricorn related. And it could be very positive too for some kind of Capricorn type writing at this time, such as writing something about could be, you know, about attaining success, career related matters, ambitions, responsibilities, the government, politics, business, accounting, anything that could be Capricorn related at this time. So anyway, well, the next thing up is Saturn will still be in Capricorn, so the third house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, well, this might be a time, Scorpio, where you might find yourself taking care of a sickly or debilitated a sibling, cousin, or neighbor. It could be somebody, it could be something Capricorn related, such as something with the bones, the knees, the joints, the hamstrings. And it might be making you feel somewhat despondent and melancholy at this time, but could also be about taking more responsibility for third house related matters, such as your local transportation, matters with siblings, cousins, neighbors, even people you may have known from your early education. And older people might figure more prominently in your communications and your short journeys, and also about gaining structure and discipline in communications, or about a lot of laborious, consistent efforts in writings. Those are some ways that this could manifest at this time. But remember that Saturn is also like that sad, depressing type of planet. So guard against becoming overly melancholy or despondent or depressed at this time, because you're talking about Saturn energy in the house of the rational mind and thinking at this time. Now, it could be too that you might find yourself kind of like at this point in time, really, again, Saturn being about older people. This could be a time, older people, or even, I mean, could even be a grandparent, a father, might be more, instrumental in your communications and your assimilating information in your short journeys at this point in time. And also, Saturn could be about what we fear. It could be about fears as well. So it could be a time where you might have a little reluctance and hesitancy in terms of communicating at this time as well, and could be speaking your mind about certain issues. So those are some ways that this could manifest and pan out at this time for you, Scorpio. So anyway. Well, the next thing up is Uranus will still be in Taurus, so the seventh house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, well, this could manifest in a number of ways. This could be about you might be dealing with some unusual, stubborn, obstinate behavior from it could be a grandmother, it could be from a significant other, it could be from some important friendship. You might be dealing with some unusual, unpredictable lawsuits at this time, or legal situations. It could be a time too where others, like people in your important friendships, a significant other, a grandmother, may be a little bit enigmatic, and you might be having a hard time understanding them at this time. But on a positive note, this could also be, this could be a time too where you may get involved in some Uranus type, like a business, like a partnership, such as something connected with astrology or astronomy, aerospace, even rocket science, in some isolated cases, some kind of computer or electronics situation where you might form a partnership with somebody. But it could also just be good for collaborating with others in general on projects associated with what I mentioned. Even innovation, new technology at this time could be something where you might collaborate with some people on. But it could be a time, if you're unattached at this time, Scorpio, where you might find yourself marrying a foreigner. And it could be as a Taurus sun, moon, or ascendant person, or simply one that embodies Taurus characteristics. And remember, Uranus is also about friendships, so it could be about Taurus friendships. It could be Taurus sun, moon, or ascendant people, or simply ones that embody Taurian traits that might figure more prominently in your legal matters. It could be dealing with open adversaries, or even matters with the significant other, or maybe you in terms of finding someone. If you're unattached at this time, matters with the grandmother. And anyway, and whether they're actually more beneficial or they're more detrimental, a lot of that could be predicated and dependent on aspects that are made to points in your chart. A sextile trine to your natal Jupiter, they might be more auspicious in these matters, but an adverse aspect to your natal Saturn may go the other way, and they might be causing more grief and disappointment and sorrow, and some generally some loss in these matters, and might be more detrimental than restriction or what have you. So anyway, hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But next thing up, well, Neptune will be in Pisces still, so the fifth house as well be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, well, one way this may manifest, this could be a time for you, Scorpio, where people, lovers, children, may be a little bit more deceptive and duplicitous than usual, somewhat unclear and nebulous. You might find yourself doing something Neptune-like as far as something amusing, fun, or enjoyable, such as the metaphysical, which includes astrology, poetry, dancing, chemistry, photography, fishing, anything with aquatics or water. Could be scuba diving, anything that, or something with could be a time where you might like enjoy fantasy games, such as like a Dungeons and Dragons type of game. It could be a time too where you might become interested, if you're a sports fanatic, Scorpio, where you might be more interested in like hypothetical sports matchups, such as going to whatifsports.com and playing simulated sports related matchups on there. And remember too that Neptune energy can be about where we might have the tendency more to daydream and fantasize as opposed to taking action. And on fifth house matters in this case. So let's say that Neptune, I mean, especially if Neptune or transit Neptune is making an adverse aspect to your Sun, Mars, or Ascendant, it can increase that propensity. And also at this time, just be careful and guarded against speculative things at this time in investments, and make sure you're reading the fine print, because Neptune energy could be very unclear and nebulous and give like a proclivity to perhaps not seal the fine print and things and seeing everything as real as what it actually is. So anyway, last but not least, Pluto will still be in Capricorn, so the third house as well will be emphasized and highlighted. Now at this time, I know a lot of you don't want me to say the dreaded D word, but going to anyway. Some cases this could reflect an actual or literal death of a sibling, a cousin, a neighbor, a person you may have known from your early education. It could be a time too where you might find yourself transforming the way you communicate to some degree. I mean, it could be like using some something else to actually speak, especially maybe if you're an older person and you find your vocal cord, your way of communicating, speaking, it becomes harder. It could be something too where you might at this time gain some, it could be a time where you might become embroiled in power struggles with a sibling, a cousin, a neighbor, someone new from your early education. But at the same time as well, this could also be a time too for perhaps writings with something Pluto related, such as astrology, supernatural, the occult, something with locksmithing, something connected with horror or mysteries, the macabre, anything that could be Pluto related. Or it might be a time too where you're going around with your neighbors doing something with recycling, or anything that could be like Pluto related, getting to the bottom of things, going around maybe looking for even just something simple like going around with a metal detector looking for lost items, coins or what have you, whatever you may be searching for with a metal detector. At this time, wherever Pluto is in the chart at the time, it could indicate where one expects or anticipates infallibility, and guard against expecting infallibility from siblings, cousins, neighbors, people prominent in your short journeys. It could be somebody driving you around to a store, and if they're not 100% punctual or timely, guard against becoming overly critical of those people. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. And until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.